Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs look human. What's wrong with them? Let's talk about it. It's Christmas Day. I'm recording this on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2023. And in the holiday season, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone listening, whether you celebrate a holiday or not. I hope it's a good season for you. I hope you get a lot of family time, a lot of time with your friends, and you enjoy the company, that everyone is safe and sound. Everyone stays healthy. I know there's a lot of obviously viruses going around, and various health situations. So thank you for everyone for the support throughout this year. And I hope everyone watching this sincerely has a great time of year. But Christmas is a great time for sports, honestly. And in the way that the NFL has taken over Thanksgiving, the NBA has tried to take over Christmas, but the NFL still has a good hold on it, and it makes a beautiful blend. We had 5 NBA games today, 3 NFL games today, including one that I thought was going to be a good one between the Ravens and the 49ers, but ended up being a blowout, ended just a few minutes ago. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, and they lost to the Oakland Raiders. Nope, the Vegas Raiders today. We should call them the Oakland Raiders. The Vegas Raiders today. I forgot the final score. I had it, but then I accidentally closed the tab. Um, Ended up losing the game, and this was a game that the Chiefs should have won. And for them, it means that a season of 11-6 is the max they can be. Um, that there's a chance they're 10-7 going to the playoffs. The score was 20-14, of course, between the Raiders today. The Raiders scored 2 touchdowns on defense, a fumble recovery on a Patrick Mahomes handoff with Isaiah Pacheco, a reverse handoff, Pacheco handing off to Mahomes after receiving the direct snap, and then Pat Mahomes throwing a pick six on a ball that should have been thrown away. So the Raiders ended up winning that game despite their offense not doing a whole lot against the Chiefs defense, right? If we take those 2 touchdowns away, we're looking at 6 points that the Vegas Raiders scored against the Kansas City Chiefs. But at the end of the day, they were able to run out the clock. The Chiefs defense was not um, completely uh free of blame today, but nonetheless, the offensive struggles are what cost the Chiefs the game clearly when the defense for the Raiders nearly outscored the Chiefs by themselves. And that's not even counting um, the fact that the defense for the Raiders, the defense for the Chiefs was put on their heels all game long. And they stood up and they did their job for the most part. And they ended up giving up 6 points or eight points. I can't remember where the extra point was missed, which touchdown. But the Chiefs defense did their job. And I think they're a very good, but not elite defense. The problems lie with the offense. And this is the worst Patrick Mahomes has looked in his career in terms of a more than one game stretch. I believe since week 8, his passer rating was 48.6. And that's 21st in the NFL. It's an awful number for him, where in most stretches he'd be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And I still believe he is the best quarterback in the NFL. But we're seeing some failures from him. We're seeing him make mistakes. We saw it against the Jets where he had multiple turnovers. We saw it today where he had multiple turnovers. There's been a few games this year he's had multiple turnovers. He's already matched his career high for a single season in interceptions so far this year, and he's still got 2 games to go. I think in part it's him. It's got to be him. He's making mistakes on the offensive side of the ball. He's not throwing it away when he should. I think he's getting hit a little more than he should too. I know those yards are free for quarterbacks to run, but I feel like he should be sliding way earlier than he does. But I think a majority of the blame lies with the inability for the Chiefs to get him a decent wide receiver. And maybe that's not a popular take. Maybe you think that I'm bailing out Mahomes for his mistakes. I want to be clear. Mahomes should be better. If he is what he should be, this team is right at the top of the AFC, cruising to the first seed like they seem to do every year. But instead, he's not. And the receivers around him, I mean, I just pulled up the Chiefs depth chart. I'm going to list the receivers on the depth chart. We got Rashee Rice, who I think might be the best receiver on the team, but on a good team should be your third best wide receiver, in my opinion. Justin Watson, who I think is a fifth wide receiver on a good team. Kadarius Toney, who has all the talent in the world, but you see the reason the Giants let him go to Kansas City. The mental mistakes, like lining up off sides, the mental mistakes like bobbling a ball and letting the opposing team intercept it last week. Uh, Kadarius Toney shows time and time again where there's a reason the Giants let him go, where the talent isn't outweighing the ability to make mistakes. And on this team that's struggling, I think he needs to do more. But even him, even if we analyze his talent, I don't think he's a wide receiver one or two on a good team, even if he's able to make use of that talent. And then in terms of depth pieces, we have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Richie James, Justin Ross, Nicole Hardman Jr., who's on the IR, Sky Moore, who's on the IR, Montrell Washington. I mean, this is not a deep wide receiver group. And then at tight end, obviously you have Travis Kelce, who hasn't really been himself either over the past several weeks. And then behind him, you have Noah Gray and Blake Bell. I mean, depth pieces, right? I think this kind of comes down to one, their offensive line hasn't been as good as it should have been. Jawan Taylor has shown to be bad at right tackle, in my opinion. I think maybe he's had some moments where he's been solid in pass protection, but there's some plays where I don't know what he's doing. And good offensive linemen have those plays, sure, but they don't have those plays as often as he does. And of course, there's, I mean, numerous times throughout this season where we've gotten on video him constantly false starting. Uh, I think for the most part, the line has been suspect. And just despite the fact that they've played better in the past with several of the same guys, they haven't put that all together this year to be able to keep Patrick Mahomes clean in the pocket. And when he's escaping the pocket, he should be better. At the end of the day, the wide receivers are what they are. And the Kansas City Chiefs won a Super Bowl last year with a similar group of wide receivers. The offensive line played better. The defense played better. But Patrick Mahomes played better. And I think in the age of the NFL this year, where there isn't a solid elite quarterback, in my opinion, that's played well all throughout the season. I mean, we look at the NFL MVP odds, and we'll talk about that in a second. Patrick Mahomes has the opportunity to be dominating those, but instead, he's consistently putting up uh, games where he makes too many mistakes for his team to win it. The favorites to win NFL MVP going into today. Brock Purdy for the 49ers ended up throwing 4 picks tonight against that Ravens defense. He was the heavy favorite to win MVP. Lamar Jackson, second. He's probably going to be the favorite after today. Christian McCaffrey's third. And for my money, Christian McCaffrey's the MVP. He's turned that team into a team that's a very good team to one of the best, if not the best team in football. And obviously, the game tonight between the Ravens and the 49ers probably establishes that the Ravens have a solid shot at that. For my money, the 49ers are still the best team in the NFL. I think the Ravens just match up really well against them. Fourth is Tua Tagovailoa, who, as much as a Jets fan, I didn't want to give him credit. I wanted to give it to Tyreek Hill, who's an elite wide receiver. Tua throws a nice deep ball, and maybe he's not the most reliable with his decision making, but I've listed several quarterbacks so far that maybe are not the most reliable with the decision making so far this year. You got Dak Prescott in fifth, who I think was really on track to do it, and he's had some faltering games this year, and the team has, and that's almost more impactful. Josh Allen for the Bills started out really poorly. Then we have Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence. Man, it seems like every time I look up, Trevor Lawrence is throwing a back-breaking interception. Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins, who I think if he got 2K yards would be in this conversation, but he missed the game now, and I don't think he's going to get there. And then Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, who had a rough, I mean, I don't know his stats off the top of my head, but the Eagles themselves had a rough game against the Giants today. Let me pull up his stats. Barely squeaking out a win with a failed Hail Mary by the Giants at the end. Let me pull up his box score real quick. Player stats. Eagles 24-38 for 301, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also had 34 on the ground and rushing touchdown. No, he had a good game. He had a good game. This was a case of other pieces not playing well enough. And I admittedly watched this game, but I honestly don't remember a lot of it. You know, it's Christmas time. You're doing a lot of other things at the same time. You're playing board games. You're worrying about dinner and desserts, and your family's over, right? So it's almost hard to keep track of some of these games. But the Chiefs, back to the subject of this video, what do the Chiefs need to do? Well, they need to write it out. Patrick Mahomes needs to play better. I think that's what it comes down to, because these receivers are not getting better. You're not getting more talent. I think Travis Kelce needs to step up his game a little bit. He's had some, as I mentioned, some suspect weeks recently. The offensive line, got to hope it stays cohesive enough for them to keep the pocket clean. but Patrick Mahomes has to play better. And there has to be some component of him complaining every time about the refs and about his teammates not being able to catch the ball. That's got to wear on the team a little bit. And I almost wonder if that's starting to affect things. I really would hope not, as an NFL team, that they're not pouting a little bit about that. But Patrick Mahomes has quickly turned himself into the heel. I mean, and then there's several weeks ago calling, Kadarius Toney being offsides as a BS call and complaining to Josh Allen when they lost to the Bills at the end of the game. I mean, losing it on the sideline. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has turned himself into possibly the next Tom Brady, possibly one of the greatest of all time. So a guy a lot of teams are rooting against. And he needs to play better for this team to go far because as we've seen, the top of the AFC, it's deep. I mean, Baltimore just smashed the 49ers. The Dolphins just beat the Cowboys. The Bills look like a very good team, starting to make a surge after getting rid of their offensive coordinator. The AFC South is what it is. The Browns look decent with Joe Flacco at quarterback, as crazy as that is to say. And then you got the top teams at the top of the NFC, right? The Eagles, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Lions winning their first division in 30 years. Good for them. This is not going to be as easy of a postseason, especially since Patrick Mahomes has never played a road game in the postseason outside of the Super Bowl. They're going to have to do it this year, and they're going to have to win a few of those if they want to make it through. And I wonder if he's not playing better, if they'll even have a chance to do so against the top teams in both conferences. Let me know what you think about the Chiefs. Where do they need to improve? Who needs to step up? Is it the wide receivers? Is it Pat Mahomes? Is it the offensive line? Is it Andy Reid? I didn't talk about Andy Reid at all, but I don't think he's a lot of the conversation. And the running backs, I didn't talk about the running backs at all. The fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is getting important carries in that game, oof. I mean, that's rough. I know you took him with an early pick, but I like LaMichael P. Ryan a lot. And I know Jared McKinnon's on the IR. I like LaMichael P. Ryan a lot more than I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire to be the backup to Isaiah Pacheco. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Where could the Chiefs go wrong? Where could they improve? Was it your favorite game of today to watch? Let me know what you think. Once again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you for watching this Quick Thoughts episode. And for all the support, I would appreciate a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. But nonetheless, thank you for everything you've given me on this channel. Best of luck in the new year if I don't talk to you before then or you don't watch a video. Peace out.